All right, well, our streaming is all set up and Sally Scott has called in over Zoom and she's the only person that we're expecting over Zoom. So whenever you're ready to get started, we're all set over here.
All right, right on the dot. Here we go. Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to call the August 18th Quincy Farm Committee meeting to order. It is 8:30 a.m. Emily, can we do a roll call of members, please?
And just a reminder to talk into your microphone so that Sally can hear us too.
You want me to do it over?
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's not, hold on, it's not on. There you
There
go.
we go. All right, I'd like to call the August 18th Quincy Farm Committee meeting to order. It is 8:30 a.m. Emily, can we have a roll call, please?
Chair Green,
Here.
Vice Chair Vanderwerf,
Here.
Committee Member Sidlow,
Here.
Committee Member Rockefeller,
Here.
Committee Member Scott,
Here.
Committee Member Maniata,
Here.
and Committee Member Bennett.
Here. Can we all stand for the Pledge of Allegiance?
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Do we have anyone signed up for audience participation? All right, moving on to the consent agenda. Emily, you know that the minutes will be included in the next meeting packet.
Yes, that's correct. So the full recording, if anyone needs to reference it, is still up on the website and will stay up on the website. But we'll have those minutes for the next meeting.
Okay, do we have any unfinished business? New business. City manager. Chris, would you like to?
Absolutely. Madam Chair, members of the committee, first of all, good morning. Thank you for being here. I wanted to provide a brief introduction to something that has happened through this process since the last time the committee has met. More specifically, the city received a letter of interest from Catherine Anderson and her family regarding the potential transfer of Quincy Farm to the Anderson family. I do want to note a couple of things. There's obviously going to be a ton of questions. And at this early stage, many of them we probably will not have answers to. However, there are a couple of items I would like to note for the committee. First is the conservation easement. That will still be in effect no matter what happens with this. And the conservation easement also allows for the transfer of this property to the Anderson family. Staff does have, obviously has looked at the initial letter, and while it's not an offer sheet or a term sheet, there's a lot of those kinds of details that we would need to work through over time, but there's some initial due diligence that needs to occur first before there could really be an evaluation of those kinds of things. Some of that due diligence might also be occurring from Ms. Anderson. But the staff does believe that the proposal does have a lot of opportunities, and from a certain perspective is exciting. So with that said, I'll turn it back over to the chair.
Great, thank you. Just to bring everybody up to date, because I know that we have space and time between our meetings, and I know that I have to refer to my notes to remember what we agreed to before and what our next steps are. So as you recall, at the Quincy Farm meeting in late June, we've directed staff to reach out to design concepts, and that was the firm that the city council hired to create the master plan. And at the time, staff was directed to determine a new cost estimate and extension of the contract. And that purpose was to make changes to the existing draft plan to include the removal of the fire pit, a reduction in the total parking spaces, an assessment to alternate locations for parking, and a reassessment of the bridge over the Highline Canal. And that was pending a future change in the projected use of the east side from mounted equestrian use. So an additional public meeting was to be included as part of this contract extension. And these changes were the result of valuable citizen feedback that we received. And we're grateful for all the citizen input we've received over the past 5 years, and specifically the past 10 months. Our charge as a committee was to create a written document that will serve as guidance for future capital investment and planning. Since that time, Ms. Natalie Anderson has stepped forward with a letter of intent to seek returning the property to her family's governance. We recognize that Ms. Anderson's proposal has merit because of the city's challenges in meeting the potentially conflicting needs of significant financial investment, concurrent public accessibility, and the restrictions on usage defined in the conservation easement. So at this time, I'd like to invite Ms. Anderson to come forward and perhaps share some information and expand a little bit on the letter of intent.
Hi, everyone. Can you hear me with the mask? Okay, I know. Thank you so much for the opportunity to come and speak today. I'm really excited to be here with you all to discuss the potential future of Quincy Farm. And I wanted to share a little bit about where we are in the process from the family side of things, and the next steps that we envision. While there's much work that remains to be done, we are optimistic that working with the city, this committee, and members of the community that we will be able to bring CAT's vision to life. Since submitting our letter of interest, we've retained Melinda Beck, who is the attorney that drafted the conservation easement, along with a nonprofit attorney and an estate tax attorney. They are assisting us in understanding the legal, financial, and tax consequences in contemplating a potential transfer of the farm. We're also working with the help of Chris and the city to get up to speed on maintenance, operations, and potential future costs that the city and this committee have identified. Finally, we're having discussions with potential partners, donors, and nonprofits about how we may be able to enable a successful outcome for Quincy Farm. The Cherry Hills Land Preserve is one of these organizations that we have identified early in this process as potentially playing a role both in the short and long-term time horizon. Given our family's passion for the property and the Land Preserve's commitment to land conservation, we see many potentially valuable synergies in our missions that may lend themselves to future opportunities on the property. While we continue to have conversations with the Land Preserve about what this might look like long-term, we agree that programming should be a priority in the meantime, both during and after a potential transaction. Continued programming allows the community to continue to visit the farm and also provides valuable insight into what works and what doesn't as we embark on a visioning process. My vision is that we start small and build off of each of these experiences to create a stable foundation for a long-lasting legacy. The recommendation included in the packet today to pause the master planning process would also allow us to more carefully carve out a long-term vision and continue to perform due diligence as we work our way through this process. We think this is a wise path forward and appreciate this committee's measured approach to next steps. We recognize the challenges that have been inherent in managing a property as complex as Quincy Farm, and we're so thankful of the work that this committee has done and continues to do to guarantee a successful future for the farm. The in-depth analysis that this committee has performed has already proven invaluable to us as we look toward the future. And without this work, we wouldn't be where we are today, considering these exciting opportunities at Quincy Farm. Although there are many questions that remain to be answered, as we study the logistics of a potential transaction and we build our vision, we're excited to be working with you all in the city to explore a solution that we think could be a win-win for all involved. Our family is committed to both upholding the easement and building on the work that has already been done to bring my grandmother's vision to life. We have cherished this property for many years and would be honored to continue to be stewards of it for future generations. We also feel confidence in knowing that we are not alone in this and that there are so many members of the community that are also invested in the future of Quincy Farm. I look forward to continuing this dialogue with the city and this committee and would love to invite Jamie Carpenter with the Land Preserve to speak about how they may also play a role in this as we move forward. Thank you, guys.
Hi, everybody. I'll try to speak clearly through the mask as well. My name is Jamie Carpenter, and I live at 9 Random Road. I'm here as a concerned resident who values the open space we have in the village, as well as board president of the Cherry Hills Land Preserve, a local conservation education nonprofit. The Land Preserve really believes this opportunity could make a lot of sense as we think about how to best fulfill the potential of Quincy Farm for our community. This could be a very good solution to fulfill the potential of Quincy Farm itself, to relieve the financial burden and conflict within the city and its finances. It could also build a sustainable model for Quincy Farm to build that legacy that Natalie referred to. We think that what's most important is we have clear mission and purpose, and we design a legal structure and governance that can best support that and help make sure it is fulfilled and achieved. This option may present sort of relieve the square peg in a round hole problem, right? We all have shared goals for what we want to achieve with Quincy Farm that benefit our community, but how do we find the best possible solution to do that? We look forward to working with Natalie to create that small, low impact and sustainable version of Quincy Farm that can fulfill the vision of the conservation easement. And we're exploring ways that we might work together. Some of the ways that we have touched upon include continuing the education programs that bring community members to the farm, targeted fundraising, and organizing volunteers to help support the farm and perhaps even engaging youth and families to help be involved and more committed to it. We are very enthusiastic about working with Natalie to explore these opportunities and really hope that you all agree that it's worth exploring this and putting a pause on process just so we can come up with the best possible solution that will build a legacy that we're all proud of and that hopefully our children will enjoy as they grow up and continue to bring their own families up in Cherry Hills. Thank you.
Thank you both. Thank you both. Does the committee have questions for either Janny or Ms. Anderson? Hearing none. Chris, would you like to address your staff memo?
Sure. So with this in mind, and thank you for your thoughts here today. I think it's very helpful to highlight the big picture of this possibility. Knowing that this is on the table, staff is recommending two separate motions for the committee today. One is so that there's a lot of work to explore this opportunity and to allow Ms. Anderson and Land Reserve and the city to begin those explorations. Staff is recommending that the master plan process be paused while this opportunity is explore. The second motion that we are recommending is that the committee make a motion to recommend to council that your formal recommendation is that council fully explore this opportunity. It's not a commitment because we obviously don't have a lot of the answers. There's no firm offer, but that the presentations that you heard here today and the letter of interest represent an opportunity that should be fully explored by city council. So those are the two motions. There are wording for these motions in your memo. And staff is also available for questions that the committee may have.
I think the next step is to put the motion on the table. The first motion, would anyone like to make that motion?
I move to recommend that city council suspend the contract for services with design concepts for the Quincy Farm Master Plan pursuant to the terms of the existing agreement.
I second that.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right, let it be shown that that was a unanimous motion. We will move on to the second motion, which is in reference to exploring the opportunity of the transfer of Quincy Farm outlined in the letter of intent. So this is an opportunity to explore this process and do the due diligence. May I have a motion?
I move to recommend that the city fully explore the opportunity of a potential transfer of Quincy Farm as outlined in the letter of interest from the Anderson family.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All right, let it be shown that that motion passed unanimously as well.
Madam Chair,
Yes.
just for next steps, city council will, city council's meeting tonight, they will not be able to take these motions under consideration tonight because we didn't notice it for that. But we do expect to have this in front of city council on September 1st. Assuming those are accepted by city council, the expectation is that the committee would not schedule a meeting again until such time that city council requests input from the committee on the process. So I don't know the timeline of that. I'm not quite sure how long that will take. I think everyone is interested in ensuring that this process has an opportunity to play itself out and give, not for it to be rushed and rash decisions being made. So, I would expect there to be at least a few months of a break on the committee.
Thank you, City Manager Kramer. Next item on our agenda is reports. The chair has no report. Committee member Rockefeller.
I have no report.
Committee member Vanderwerf.
No report.
Committee member Sidlow.
No report.
Committee member Maniatis.
I have no report.
Committee member Venice.
I have no report.
Okay, thank you. City staff, I see a note here.
Yeah, so I just had a quick update, but based on some feedback we've gotten about website navigation, the city clerk Gillespie especially has worked to make the website a little bit more intuitive in terms of being able to find videos and to find recordings, both for city council and for committees and commissions. So if you ever to check that out, hopefully, there are a lot of different links to get you to the videos now. So hopefully that's a little bit easier to find.
And will we put a new status report on our page for the results of this meeting so that is communicated out to the community?
Yeah, so I'll update the master plan page with the committees, with an update from this committee meeting, and then I'll update it again following the council meeting, since that'll be a little bit more of a substantive decision at that point rather than a recommendation.
Okay, can you let me know when that's ready and I'll take a peek at it?
Sure.
Thank you. Any other comments or questions for staff? May I have a motion to adjourn?
I move that we adjourn.
I second that.
All in favor? Aye.
All right.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
I need to take that mask off.
Oh, my God.